What if I told you that someone saved over 1,600 last year? And they didn't budget, didn't cut anything, didn't even think about it most of the time? No app, no spreadsheet, no financial plan. Just one habit so small it sounds like a joke. Until you see the number at the end of the year. Stay with me because I'm going to show you exactly what they did, why it worked, and the brain science behind why this specific method beats almost every other saving strategy out there. Let's talk about why saving money feels so hard. And I don't mean complicated, I mean genuinely, physically uncomfortable in a way that makes most people quit. Here's what's actually happening. When you're stressed about money, and most people are at least some of the time, your brain goes into what neuroscientists call a threat state. Your amygdala fires, cortisol goes up, and the part of your brain responsible for long-term planning, delayed gratification, and rational decision-making gets partially switched off, which means the moment you most need to make good financial decisions is the exact moment your brain is least equipped to make them. This is why just be more disciplined doesn't work. Discipline is a prefrontal cortex function, and financial stress is shutting your prefrontal cortex down. So what does work? Something small enough to bypass this response. Something so small it doesn't trigger the stress response at all. Something your brain barely notices. Something that feels less like saving and more like doing nothing differently. Imagine January 1st. One person. One empty glass jar on a kitchen counter. That's where the journey began, with absolutely no fanfare and no complex software. The rule was this. Every piece of physical change that came into their life went into that jar. Every coin, every time. No exceptions and no minimums. That's the entire system. No tracking, no budgeting, no monthly meetings with yourself about your financial goals. Just coins. Jar. Done. Simple, right? But the magic is in the consistency. Now here's the part that sounds too simple to be meaningful. But stick with me because this is where the brain science gets interesting. Every single time a coin went into that jar, even a penny, the brain received a signal. A small, concrete, physical signal that said, something is being built here. Progress is happening. We are not stuck. That signal triggers a small dopamine response. Not a big one. Not the kind you get from buying something exciting. Just a quiet, steady hit that says, keep going, this is working. You are someone who saves. And when that signal comes consistently, every day, multiple times a day, something starts to shift within your psychology. Your brain stops associating saving with sacrifice and starts associating it with safety. The threat state around money begins to dissolve, not because you have significantly more money yet, because your brain has new evidence about who you are. It's the constant repetition that builds the new neurological pathway, overriding the old stress response. Hold on, I want you to do something right now. Think about how much loose change you handled last week. The coins from a coffee, the change from a lunch, the pennies you left on the counter or dropped in the cup holder of your car. Most people handle somewhere between 50 cents and $3 in physical change every day. That's handled without a second thought. It goes in a pocket, gets left somewhere, falls between the couch cushions, and disappears. That's not nothing. Over a year, that's real money that's already passing through your hands and currently producing zero return because it's sitting in a cup holder doing nothing. The jar doesn't create money, it captures it. Now, here's where the experiment gets upgraded. And this is the part that pushed the final number over 1,600. $2 bills. Whenever the person broke a larger bill, at a shop, at a restaurant, anywhere they were paying cash, they asked for $2 bills in their change. Most banks and many cashiers will provide them. Here's why this works. $2 bills are unusual enough that your brain flags them as special. They feel different from regular bills. They don't feel like spending money. They feel like collector's items almost. So they go in the jar instead of getting spent. And unlike coins, $2 bills are worth, well, $2 each. A handful of them adds up fast. The combination of coins plus $2 bills is what turned a modest experiment into 1,623 by December. Let's look at what the actual numbers looked like month by month. Some months were around $90. Quiet months, not much cash changing hands. Other months were significantly more active. Some months were closer to $180. December was the biggest, over $200, because of all the cash transactions that happen around the holidays. Gifts, tips, and dinners out, lead to a lot more physical change entering your orbit. The average across 12 months was around $135. Multiply that by 12. You get $1,623. In a high-yield savings account, which is where the monthly totals got deposited, not a checking account, but a separate account specifically for this, that money earns interest on top. We're talking about a savings account that currently pays somewhere between 4 and 5% annually, so the real number is slightly higher. Now here's the thing about $1,623. It's not life-changing money. I'm not going to pretend it is. It won't pay off a mortgage or fund a retirement. But here's what it is. It's a flight somewhere you've never been. It's 3 months of emergency fund. It's security. It's the difference between a car repair breaking you and a car repair being annoying. It's proof, real, physical, tangible proof, that you are someone who saves. And that proof is worth more than the number. Because here's what the person running this experiment actually reported at the end of 12 months. They felt different. The money was nice, but what surprised them was something else entirely. Within the first 60 days, before the jar had even a few $100s in it, their general financial anxiety had dropped noticeably. Not because their situation had changed dramatically, because their brain had a new story. They were no longer a victim of finance. The story used to be, I'm someone who can't save money. I try and it doesn't work, and nothing changes. After 60 days of coins in a jar, the story became, I'm someone who saves every single day. I have been doing it consistently for 2 months. Look at the jar. It's right there. It was visible proof. That's an identity shift. And identity shifts are what produce lasting behavior change. Not willpower, not motivation, not a better budgeting app. When you see yourself as a saver, saving becomes what you do. Not what you're trying to do, what you do. It becomes an automatic part of your personality rather than an uphill battle. Here's your 3-step version to start tonight. Step 1. Find a jar. Not a special jar. Not an aesthetic jar you buy specifically for this. Any jar. A mason jar, an old pasta sauce jar, something from the recycling bin. The container is irrelevant. The habit is everything. The visual of seeing it fill up is what matters. Step 2. Empty your pockets, your bag, your car cup holder. Everywhere change accumulates, right now, tonight, into that jar. That's your starting balance. Then from tomorrow morning, every coin goes in, no exceptions. It doesn't matter if it's a nickel or a quarter, everything gets captured. You'll be surprised at how much you find. Step 3. At the end of every month, count it. Write the number down somewhere. Then transfer it to a high-yield savings account, not your regular checking account, somewhere separate that you don't casually dip into. The link to the account I'd recommend is in the description. It takes about 4 minutes to open. It's currently earning significantly more than a standard savings account. That's it. 3 steps. The system runs itself from there. The reason most saving strategies fail isn't lack of information. It's that they trigger the exact stress response that makes financial decisions harder. This system bypasses all of that tension and lets you build wealth. A jar of coins doesn't trigger anything. It sits on your counter. It fills up slowly. Your brain notices it and feels quietly good about it. And quietly good, consistently, over 12 months, becomes $1,600 and a completely different relationship with money. Small, consistent, invisible to your stress response. That's the formula for success. In the comments, tell me this. Where does your loose change go right now? Genuinely curious. Cup holder? Counter? Just lost forever? If you're starting the jar tonight, and I hope you are, tell me that too. We're building a community of people who prioritize the systems that actually work without the constant guilt trips. Subscribe for more of this. The brain science behind money, the systems that actually work, and none of the shame spiral that makes most finance content unwatchable. We're stripping away the complexity to find the habits that stick. You deserve to feel in control of your finances without the constant anxiety and mental fatigue. Next video, the real reason you can't stop impulse spending, and it has nothing to do with self-control. I'll see you there. We'll be diving deep into the neurochemistry of the buy and how to rewire your brain to find pleasure in things that don't cost a dime. It's going to be transformative. Until then, find your jar. Start with what's in your pocket right now. That small clinking sound of a coin hitting glass is the sound of a new financial future beginning. It's small, it's quiet, but over time, it's incredibly powerful. I can't wait to hear about your progress a year from now. See you soon.